Tears on stage. Wang breaks down while performing after Lu accepts Zhang Linghe's proposal. The night was meant to be dazzling, an evening where Wang's star power lit up the stage, but instead, it became one of the most unforgettable, heart-wrenching moments of his career. Under the blinding lights, before thousands of screaming fans, Dylan's voice cracked, his composure shattered, and the tears he had been fighting to hide finally spilled over. The reason? Just hours before his performance, news had spread like wildfire across every corner of the internet. Lu had accepted Zhang Linghe's proposal. What should have been a triumphant night for Dylan quickly spiraled into an emotional storm, leaving fans shaken and social media ablaze. The breaking point. As Dylan stepped onto the stage, dressed in sleek black with a silver microphone glistening in his hand, the crowd erupted into cheers. They had no idea that behind the charismatic smile, his heart was a battlefield. Each lyric he sang that night carried the weight of his turmoil. By the third song, the cracks in his voice became noticeable. His eyes glistened under the stage lights, but this wasn't a reflection of spotlights. It was pain. Midway through his performance, as he belted out a powerful ballad about love and loss, his voice trembled. Suddenly, he turned away from the audience, shoulders shaking. The band played on, but Dylan lowered the microphone, clutching it like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. A hush fell over the arena. Then, as if unable to contain it any longer, Dylan wiped his face, his tears catching the light. I really tried, he whispered, barely audible, but those sitting in the front rows swore they heard it. Fans left in shock. Social media exploded within minutes. Is Wang crying on stage right now? One fan tweeted, attaching a shaky video of him bowing his head, tears streaming down his face. This isn't just performance emotion, this is real heartbreak. Another fan posted, with a clip of Dylan struggling to finish his song. The comments section across multiple platforms spiraled into chaos. Many speculated that Dylan's breakdown was directly tied to Lu and Zhang Linghe's engagement. After all, Dylan had remained uncharacteristically silent since the proposal news broke, and his reaction on stage seemed to confirm what fans had long suspected. He still hadn't let go of Lu. Backstage meltdown. When Dylan finally walked off stage, the facade of professionalism completely crumbled. Crew members revealed that he threw his microphone onto a chair, burying his face in his hands. He reportedly told his manager, "I shouldn't have come tonight. Not after this." One staff member described the scene. He was shaking, pacing the floor, his hands running through his hair. "We've seen Dylan stressed before, but never like this." It wasn't just exhaustion, it was heartbreak eating him alive. Even his manager was at a loss, unsure whether to comfort him or shield him from the media frenzy. The proposal that shattered him. Just a day before the performance, Zhang Linghe had made headlines worldwide after his jaw-dropping proposal to Lu. In a romantic setting decorated with thousands of white roses, Lingi had dropped to one knee, his voice trembling with sincerity as he asked Lu to be his forever. She said yes. The images of Lu, tears glistening as she accepted the ring, had gone viral instantly. The smiles, the embrace, the applause from close friends and family, it was a picture-perfect moment that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. For Dylan, however, those images were daggers. Fans who had followed the trio's complicated history knew exactly why Dylan's breakdown on stage felt like a direct response. Zhang Linghe responds quietly. What made the night even more dramatic was Zhang Linghe's unexpected response. While Dylan's videos trended across every social media platform, Lingi was spotted leaving a private dinner with Lu. When reporters asked him about Dylan's emotional performance, Lingi's face tightened. After a pause, he only said, "Everyone deserves to find their happiness. I hope Dylan finds his too." It was diplomatic, but fans were divided. Some praised Lingi for his grace, while others criticized him, claiming his words sounded more like a victory statement than empathy. Lu caught in the middle. Meanwhile, Lu has stayed silent. Insiders revealed that she saw the viral clips of Dylan crying but chose not to comment, fearing any statement could fuel more chaos. However, sources close to her say she was deeply affected. She watched the video in silence, a friend disclosed. She didn't speak for a long time, just held her phone tightly. No one knows what she was thinking, but it was clear that Dylan's pain touched her. This silence only fueled speculation. Was Bailu truly over Dylan, or was she still torn between her past and her future? Fan reactions: a divided storm. The fandom is now completely split. On one side are the Lingi supporters, celebrating the engagement and urging Dylan to move on. On the other side are Dylan Liu fans, furious that the actress chose Lingi and devastated to see Dylan break down so publicly. One comment summed it up: "This isn't just entertainment drama anymore. These are real hearts breaking in front of us. And no matter whose side you're on, watching Dylan cry like that hurts." What happens next? Entertainment insiders say Dylan has canceled several upcoming interviews, citing emotional exhaustion. Some speculate he may take a break from performing altogether. Meanwhile, Zhang Linghe and Bailu are rumored to be planning a small, private celebration with family, away from the media glare. Yet the shadow of Dylan's breakdown looms over their happiness. The story has become bigger than an engagement or a concert. It has become a collision of love, loss, and public vulnerability, a story that fans will remember for years. A night that changed everything. That night, when Dylan's tears fell under the stage lights, the audience wasn't just watching a celebrity. They were witnessing a man who loved, lost, and couldn't hide it anymore. For some, it was devastating. For others, it was a bittersweet reminder of how fragile the human heart truly is. One thing is certain: the night Dylan Wang broke down on stage will forever be remembered as the moment when personal heartbreak eclipsed the spotlight. The arena had never been so silent. Thousands of fans who came expecting electrifying energy from Dylan Wang were now witnessing something they could never have imagined: a superstar unraveling in real time. The tears on his face weren't for performance effect. They were raw, unstoppable, and heavy with meaning. Every camera in the crowd zoomed in, capturing the moment for eternity, but not a single fan lifted their voice. They all knew they were intruding on something painfully real. The song that shattered him. Ironically, the song Dylan had chosen for that point in the concert was one of his most emotional ballads, a haunting melody about the one who got away. The lyrics, which once made fans sway with romance, now cut through the air like knives, each word trembling under the weight of his heartbreak. "I thought I'd be the one you'd choose, but love never waits." When he sang that line, Dylan's voice cracked audibly, and the audience gasped. He clutched his chest as though his heart itself had betrayed him, his knees buckling for a moment before he steadied himself. It was as though the lyrics had merged with reality, becoming his personal confession. Fans in the front rows began crying too, some whispering, "This isn't just a song, this is his truth." The collapse that stunned the crowd. As the song reached its climax, Dylan turned away from the spotlight, pressing a hand over his mouth to muffle the sobs threatening to escape. But the tears betrayed him, streaming down his face under the harsh lights. Then it happened: he dropped to his knees. The microphone rolled across the stage, feedback screeching as Dylan hunched forward, shaking uncontrollably. The arena erupted. Some fans screamed his name, begging him to stand. Others covered their mouths, unable to process what they were witnessing. The live feed on the massive screen zoomed in on his trembling figure before the camera crew, in panic, quickly cut away to a wide shot of the stage. Crew members rushed forward, but Dylan raised a hand, signaling for them to stop. He wanted to finish. His whisper heard around the world. Struggling to his feet, Dylan picked up the microphone with shaking hands. His voice was hoarse, but every word echoed with devastating clarity. "Sometimes love belongs to someone else, no matter how hard you fight for it." The crowd froze. Phones shot up instantly, recording what would soon become one of the most replayed clips in entertainment history. Fans knew at that moment. He wasn't talking about the song. He was talking about Bailu. Tears streamed down his face as he forced himself to finish the final chorus, his voice breaking with every note. By the end, He simply stood still, staring out into the sea of lights, as though searching for someone who wasn't there. Backstage chaos. The second Dylan walked off stage, the facade crumbled completely. Witnesses described a scene that felt more like a tragedy than a concert. He stormed past the crew, ripping out his in-ear monitors and throwing them onto the floor. His hands covered his face as he leaned against a wall, his body trembling violently. "Don't let anyone in," his manager ordered, pushing staff back as Dylan's sobs echoed down the hallway. One crew member whispered. He kept repeating the same thing over and over. "Why now? Why did it have to be now?" It was haunting. "We didn't know what to do." This wasn't Dylan the star anymore. This was Dylan the man, breaking apart. Fans outside the arena. Meanwhile, outside the venue, hundreds of fans had gathered, waiting for Dylan's exit. But when word spread that he had collapsed backstage, panic rippled through the crowd. Videos of crying fans clutching banners and chanting his name spread online. Many begged him not to give up, while others angrily blamed Lu and Zhang Linghe for the timing of their public engagement. She could have waited, why now, on the eve of his performance. One fan posted angrily, sparking heated debates across social media. A manager's dilemma. Behind the scenes, Dylan's manager was torn. Canceling the rest of the concert would lead to chaos, but forcing Dylan back on stage seemed cruel. In the end, Dylan made the decision himself. "I'll finish." Those two words stunned everyone in the room. With his makeup smudged and his eyes bloodshot, Dylan insisted on returning to the stage for his final number. He refused any touch-ups, saying, "They should see me as I am. No masks tonight." The final blow. When Dylan reappeared, the crowd erupted into cheers of encouragement. But the man who stood before them was no longer the polished idol. They were seeing a wounded soul, stripped bare. The final song was meant to be a celebratory anthem, but Dylan transformed it into something else entirely. His delivery was raw, broken, yet more powerful than ever. Every lyric felt like a cry for help. And then, as the last note rang out, Dylan lowered his microphone slowly and whispered into the silence. "Congratulations, Lu." The arena exploded into screams. Some fans wailed, others gasped, and in that single sentence, Dylan had confirmed everything. His breakdown was not random. His tears were not just performance. They were the result of losing the woman he had loved to someone else. The aftermath that shook the internet. By the time Dylan left the stage for the last time, the internet was already on fire. Hashtags like #DylanBreaksDown on stage and #DylanStillLovesByLu shot to the top of trending charts worldwide. Clips of him on his knees, sobbing, were looped endlessly on every platform. The line, "Congratulations, Lu," became the most quoted phrase of the night. Even celebrities began weighing in. Some sent messages of support, while others criticized the industry for pushing artists to perform through heartbreak. But one thing was clear. Dylan's performance was no longer just entertainment. It was a public unraveling that blurred the line between celebrity and human pain. A night etched in memory. As fans left the arena, many said they had never felt so emotionally drained after a concert. Some described it as beautifully tragic, while others said they wished they hadn't witnessed it at all, because the image of Dylan's tears would haunt them forever. And yet, despite the chaos, one truth shone through. Dylan Wang had delivered the most vulnerable, unforgettable performance of his life. Not because of the perfection of his singing, not because of dazzling choreography, but because for the first time, he let the world see him break.